We have a busy agenda tonight, so we are gonna get right to it. First on the agenda is the public hearing on the bylaw modernization grant regarding the proposed amendments to the Jericho, I cut that off. Zoning regulations, I'll just say. Chris, you kicking us off with this?
Yep.
So this is a public hearing. This is a little bit different from the select board. So the way we're gonna do it is Chris is gonna present his stuff. He's gonna talk about what's in there, and then the public is welcome to do comments. Once the public is done, once we're done with public comments, we're gonna close this portion of the meeting, and then we will open the select board meeting. And that's when the select board will discuss what we think about the amendments. So that's just a little guide for people. Go ahead, Chris.
Before you start, because again, on the minutes, there was somebody who didn't have their last name. Could you remind people on Zoom to put their full name?
Yep.
Because that makes the minutes more complete.
And I will say, please do not use the Zoom chat. If you want to speak and you're online, please raise your hand. You can use the Zoom chat if something's not working right, like, hey, I can't get off mute, something like that, that's fine, but for this part of it, please don't just enter in comments, please raise your hand. Chris, take it away.
Great, thank you. I'm Chris Shaheen, Town Planner for Jericho. This is our second public hearing at the Select Board on those zoning amendments. I have a few slides just to give a very high-level overview. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We've done that before at the first public hearing and at the second public hearing. I think at this second meeting where this was discussed with the Select Board, I went into some detail following up from the first hearing, so I'm not going to go into that again. But just so the bylaw modernization grant, or BMG, project that we've been working on, the planning commission has been working on for about 18 months, is focusing specifically looking at simplifying regulations to increase housing and streamline review processes, specifically for the village districts within Jericho. If you want to go to the next slide. So we have focused looking at three areas: Jericho Center, Jericho Corners, and Riverside. We did look at some process issues that affect all of the zoning districts, but we were really focused primarily looking at these three districts. You want to go to the next slide? There were a couple priorities with what we were looking at. One was making sure that the changes that we were considering were consistent with the town plan, which had been updated and adopted just before we started this work. The grant that we got from the state that was funding this was specifically to look at the Enabling Better Places guide that was put out by the state, which focused on how to make village centers more walkable places. There was also an emphasis on looking at the form-based code in Riverside, which there's been a lot of discussion about how complicated it was. So we greatly simplified how that form-based code works. And then just in general, trying to create more vibrant, walkable neighborhoods in the village centers. That's what the goal is. So zoning is looking forward in terms, so the town plan has policies that both impact local government, the local government, as well as the private sector. One of the ways we realize the goals in the town plan is through zoning for private sector development. So that's what this is focused on tonight. For the next slide. So this is where I'm going at a much higher level, not getting into a lot of detail. There are generally 5 areas of zoning that we looked at to update. One was dimensional standards, so that'd be like lot sizes, lot coverage, number of principal buildings on a lot. I'm going through those at a very high level, so I'm getting to a lot of detail. We also looked at parking, so like the number of required parking spaces, making sure that on-street parking could count toward required parking spaces in places where it would be allowed. We looked at allowable uses. We looked at the use table, took a finer grained look at uses that are allowed in the different villages and seeing if there should be tailored to reflect the specific characters of the different villages. We looked at street standards in the Riverside area, again emphasizing the need for having a walkable neighborhood, sidewalks, street trees. We also look at that for the, not just in Riverside, but for the all the 3 village centers. Well, I'm saying the 3 village centers, but now they're actually, each village center has its own name. So when I say village center, I am collectively including the Riverside neighborhood, Jericho Center, and Jericho Corners. If you look at the zoning use table now, they each have their own zoning district. And then we also looked at development review processes. I mentioned on the first slide, we really were trying to simplify where we could simplify zoning reviews, where we could have things assigned to the zoning administrator to review instead of having to go to the full development review board, where we thought we had standards in place to ensure we were getting what we wanted without going through a whole process, making it easy to get through the process. That is my high level overview of what's here. It's on fine.
Thank you, Chris. Public comment. Hello, Susan.
You want me to say a few to answer any questions or?
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Susan Brzee. I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. I just wanted to thank you very much for your careful review of the zoning amendments and thank Paula and Chris Shaheen for all their support over the last year to bring them to you. I am extremely proud of the work of the PC. I just wanted to make sure that you are all aware of how diverse a group the PC is. The PC includes a public health expert, a doctor of veterinary medicine who's also on the Conservation Commission and the Land Trust, an architect whose practice includes designing small homes and businesses, a business owner, a data scientist, a public health expert, a member of Jericho's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and the former chair of the Affordable Housing Committee. The PC worked hard to strike a balance, listening to the Regional Planning Commission and experts and our consultant and the public, but ultimately came to our own decisions about these amendments. This diverse, smart group unanimously approved the recommendations that were submitted. The zoning is in fact correctly described as being designed to encourage most development to occur in the village areas that are designated for growth. That is actually the goal. That is the town's policy, that is the state's policy, and that is Chittenden County's land use policy. In fact, Chittenden County's written policy states that the goal is to drive 80% of new growth into designated growth areas, which covers only 15% of the land in Chittenden County. This smart growth policy is designed to build mixed income, mixed use neighborhoods, some at higher densities, connected by safe streets designed for people, not cars, to reduce the use of fossil fuel and to attract college graduates to the engine of Vermont's economy in Chittenden County. The zoning you're reviewing was developed by the PC with a consultant paid through a grant. We had limited time and money with a specific focus on our village areas to implement this policy, the intended policy, to encourage 80% of the development to happen in the growth areas. The PC did not have the budget or the staff to go beyond this scope. It's true that some aspects of the current zoning reinforces the real estate market to build upscale homes on large lots in rural areas. The town plan and the PC see that as a problem. Rural housing is too expensive for many families and too expensive for towns. Scattered rural development threatens the Vermont landscape and the Vermont economy. Zoning changes must be well crafted for special opportunities and challenges for building outside these growth areas to reduce scattered development. But zoning can't do it all. Just like we've talked about, infrastructure has to partner with zoning in the village areas. Other policies need to be looked at to consider how to reduce scattered development in the rural areas. Maybe Jericho will need to expand its growth area. Maybe tax policy needs to shift. Maybe clustered multifamily housing is the right solution for specific rural situations. Maybe farms can be conserved while some land is used for homes. But you know what? We don't know those answers yet. I can promise you that the PC will do a thorough job with the next set of zoning amendments as we did for these amendments, as we have done with the ARPA recommendations, the housing resolution, the 2024 town plan, and these zoning amendments. The track record shows that we bring you zoning and other planning work that has been thoroughly researched and deliberated, always led by the town plan, always consulting with the public, and the need to balance multiple issues and multiple stakeholders. Now that we have Chris Shaheen by our side, we are eager to continue the work.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your work and your committee's work on these amendments. Is there other public comment? Chuck?
Well, the track record shows we're only building houses for wealthy people. Nothing in this package of zoning amendments changes Jericho's core housing policy, which is to contain people with regular incomes in a small area and reserve the rest of town for people with money. The projections that you used for the engineer for the wastewater study are fanciful. You look at the HOAs, you look at what's already built, you look at how the land is being used in the village centers. Those projections are ridiculous. You have in front of you proposed amendments that rewrite the purpose of planned unit developments townwide, to change the permitting and appeal process townwide. And yet you are not considering long-standing recommendations from the Affordable Housing Committee because it is still not the time. You are only looking at zoning changes and new aesthetic requirements where you want to concentrate people with low and middle incomes. This house here is legal every day. Jericho just sold for $1.3 million. This house is illegal in most of Jericho. It's illegal in 70% of Jericho, and you need special permission to build it in another 16% of Jericho. Not because of agricultural concerns, not because of environmental concerns. The natural resources overlays are the same for both of these houses. Legalizing this house won't change where houses are built in Jericho. This will only be built where you already allow this house to be built. It's not having to do with traffic, because you have to build 20 of these in one place before you trigger a traffic study. It's not traffic. It's not water or wastewater. We're building enormous luxury, develops of luxury homes now in Jericho with their own water and their own sewer. It's a myth that you need public water or sewer to build clusters of housing. Triplexes are illegal because that comforts the comfortable. That's why. No other justification. In December 2021, at a hearing just like this one, the Select Board and the Planning Commission agreed to study the legalization of triplexes. The same month, the Burlington School Board decided to study a new high school. That high school is almost done. And here we are tonight at a hearing for the fourth zoning revision since then, the third zoning revision since you've got recommendations from the Affordable Housing Committee. And still more time is needed to study the legalization of this house, roughly the same size as that house. Jericho Select Boards have long considered exclusionary housing policies to be risk-free. The upscale status quo is comfortable for the comfortable, but it's not risk-free. Just look at our schools. School enrollment is down 6% statewide over the last 2 decades. Enrollment at MMU is down 45%. From 1,215 students to 670 students. We are an outlier. We no longer need 2 middle schools. Enrollment at Jericho Elementary is way down, even after adding full-time kindergarten and even after closing the elementary school program at Underhill ID School, moving 2/3 of the children from Underhill ID to Jericho Elementary School. And it's not a birth rate issue. Jericho women, according to the US Census, actually have children at a higher birth rate than statewide by a fair margin. The issue is that women of childbearing age can't afford to live here. We have 70% more people in their 60s than in their 30s. And in Chittenden County, there's a balance, but roughly the same number of people in their 30s than in their 60s. I don't want to close schools. I'd rather fill them up. I think we'd be a better, more dynamic town with more children and parents. The health of our schools is just one risk you are entertaining while you spend years studying the right and wrong of letting people with regular incomes make a life here. Your town plan calls housing a crisis. You said intervention is needed. Will you go with the flow and keep comforting the comfortable? Or will you intervene with just a little bit of fairness? This is right and wrong stuff. Legalizing triplexes and fourplexes is a simple change to the table of uses. You can do it tonight and demonstrate your will to change Jericho's exclusionary housing policy. I'll point out that I brought this in April on the last one, and you asked for, and you said, well, no, not yet, even though it's almost 2 years after you've gotten the recommendation of the Affordable Housing Committee. And basically what we heard was not yet, we'll get to it. And I think if they had said, we're going to get to it in a year and a half, that would have gotten your attention, but that's sort of how things work here.
Thank you for your comments, gentlemen. Other public comment? Mr. Flynn,
Do I go up or
whatever makes you more comfortable, man.
stay the back? I'm Joe Flynn. I'm a resident of Jericho, served on the DRB, served for a brief moment on the select board, and also been in commercial residential land development since 1988. The outline zone was forwarded to me last Saturday, and I read it over Saturday, looked it over again this evening before I headed out. And again, I'm going to come across with some comments that are quite positive. I like the direction they're going in. Okay. Anytime we can bring more approval process to Chris Flynn, our zoning administrator, we narrow the process and we get from A to B quicker. Those are positives. You've worked in pushing density requirements down and letting the site become engineering based for density, which is another great step. The approval of the multi-form units in all of but 2 zoning districts is again a great plus. So I'm in favor. I think these are really great steps forward. Okay. As far as constraints and what the town creates with zoning, I can tell you this, and this isn't just coming from Jericho's, the work we do in Jericho, as my company does, and for our clients. It's across the board. We're finding every town has its problems with approvals now. There is nothing that's easy. Essex has issues. South Burlington has issues. Burlington has issues. Williston, Heinsberg, all have problems. Are those problems all local based? Not necessarily. We're seeing more oversight now from the state regarding stormwater, wastewater, and the wetlands. Most of the time, our first option is always on a site now is to, does it have soils? If it doesn't have municipal water or sewer, does it have soils or septics? That's changed. Now it's wetlands. Wetlands are the first step, controlled by the state. Wetlands have a distinct impact on how many lots you can put in based upon your impact. Okay, there's a finite amount of things Jericho zoning can do to help promote housing just because of all the state control. I appreciate the efforts they've done. They've done a great job. As far as the next steps, I basically have just 2 comments, and this is something Chris and I have talked about. One was, I do think the regulations should look at split zoned areas and how they're evaluated. Currently, they're evaluated based upon whatever the zone is more restrictive controls. So if you have a split zone area that's rural residential 3-acre zoning and part 10 acre controls the whole parcel. We've had 3 situations recently with clients in this town where we have a possibility of maybe doing 3 lots, but we can only do 2. So how we treat split zoning, there's options. Where the house lies, what's the ratio of split zoning, and so on. So that's one comment that, you and I met a couple months ago. The other one is, again, boils with wetlands and access. There's been some changes in access and how many units off a drive, which is a positive. But again, access comes into play if you have to cross a wetland and how much impact it is. If we have regulations in place where you can take a road, which is a more impact, narrow it to a driveway status to cross the wetland and then go back to a road, maybe we can pick up 1 or 2 more lots. We have to limit the impact on the wetland. So if there's to be a variance in a width of a road for a short section of time, it facilitates zoning to get around the state impacts. So those are my only 2 comments. A lot of positives. I really like where this is going. I appreciate the efforts of the planning commission. There's a lot to balance. Open space is a requirement. We have to keep a certain amount of land open. We can't get around that. And that's a juggle. We're always going to have a forestry zone. We have the rural residential and the open space. So anyway, appreciate it, Lisa Planning Commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe, for your comments. Other public comment? I don't see any online public comment. Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing on the bylaw modernization grant section of the meeting. Which brings us to our regularly scheduled select board meeting. I need to propose 2 changes to the agenda before we get into the regular select board meeting. Get your agendas out, folks. So first, I'd like to move public comment to after the discussion about the BMG approval, because I think that flows better since the public just heard us hearing about that. So I just want to move public to be heard to after the land use development regulation approval. Then I need to add another agenda item after the speed hump issue. We are adding to the agenda to deal with an unforeseen occurrence or condition requiring immediate attention, which is the approval of the last remaining FEMA projects. So I just want to give a quick background. Typically, we don't add things to the agenda that are not warned. We have confirmed with VLCT that this is the appropriate thing to do here. We need to get this work done before October 1st, or else we lose this funding. We have to go back to the approval process. So we're gonna inject this into the select board meeting tonight. We do try not to do that. We try to give you some opportunity to know what we're talking about. But that's the way we're gonna roll with it tonight. Any issues with those changes to the agenda, select board? Okay. All right. Now it's our turn to talk about the land use and development regulations. Comments from the board.
Just among the ends. You talked about the changes in the development review processes. Did the DRB help review that throughout the process of the adding the new changes?
We coordinated with Chris Flynn, zoning administrator. I believe he talked to the DRB members about the changes that were being proposed, but we worked primarily with Chris Flynn on that.
Okay. Yeah, because you already, dealt with the other questions I had a long time ago.
Other questions, comments?
Oh, I guess we could ask about options on bike lanes. It says, you know, under street standard, it says maintains the option for bike lanes. If you, if your option is not, you know, you're maintaining your option, but, so you're saying it's, you know, not required, but it should be, you know, potentially there. Is there, room for bike lanes or at least, you know, lane share or something if the option isn't available?
Which part are you looking at?
Street standards, notable changes? No, wrong page. Sorry. If it's just in the overview,
9.
fine. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So, ask your question again, sorry.
I just wondered about the issue with the options. Now, is there always, you know, can you, even if there isn't. So you're not requiring bike lanes, but if there's room for a bike lane, it gets put in, or do you get a shared, you know, share the road kind of thing, or how are you going to deal with making biking available
Right, got it.
throughout?
So, I think the comment that you're referring to, there is a Shero specification in the Riverside form-based code area that we intended to keep in so that there was another option for doing a bike lane if there wasn't enough right of way to include it as part of the a separate bike lane out of the right of way.
Okay. Just want to make sure that, you know, people could still bike somehow
Yes.
safely.
Peter, any comment?
Yes, I have a few comments. I have gone back and forth on this a whole bunch over the last couple months. And the reason is because, despite the way that Chuck talks to people on this committee, on the planning commission and the select board, and the way he portrays the select board and the planning commission on Front Porch Forum, he's got good points about things that need to happen. And so I sort of, not that this is like a hostage situation, but I'm sort of willing to vote yes on this, provided that, you know, it was actually 1 year ago tomorrow that SGA Doobie brought the affordable housing the 9 recommendations to us. And 10 months ago in November, we approved them and passed them on to the planning commission. And there's been a lot of hubbub in the planning commission with movement of planners and you coming in and getting grounded and all that. I'm willing to vote yes on this because I do think these are all good things that all move us in the right direction. With the caveat that I would ask that we be voting 6 months from today on what comes out of the planning commission around those affordable housing committee recommendations. And if we can be doing that in 6 months, then I feel like that we'll close the loop on that. It's taking too long, but I feel like 6 months is a reasonable window to turn those things around. I will say publicly that, and I don't really know whether to address Chuck directly or the group, but I really have not appreciated the posts in Front Porch Forum that have really portrayed the select board and the planning commission in a really patronizing, disrespectful way that people are and I guess it's your opinion, but it's my opinion that I find it really rude and disrespectful and upsetting. That you make statements, that Chuck makes statements like the select board and planning commission intend to contain people with regular incomes in a small area. I think that's I think that's essentially misinformation, that what is being done is trying to create an area in our community where it is easy to build. Yes, we need to also make it easier to build in other areas, but to say that there are people in power here who are actively and deliberately trying to put poor people in one part of our town, I think I disagree with that. And I find it really disrespectful to the, whatever it is, 12 volunteers who are trying to move the town forward in as genuine and honest a way as we can. So I don't appreciate the way you've been posting on Front Porch, the way Chuck's been posting on Front Porch Forum. That said, despite the tone, the points that he makes are valid, and I think that we need to move forward with those affordable housing recommendations.
Hey, Peter,
May I respond?
that seems, are you okay with the response?
Sure.
Briefly?
The select,
I just want to say, I'm okay with you responding, I'm not gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, understood.
the select board is accountable and is in charge of the housing policy for Jericho. That has been the case for 50 years. The strategy has been the same. The planning commission has maintained that policy. If you just look at the zoning at the face of it and look at what gets built and where, I believe the select board is accountable. And in the past, the select board has kind of waved through stuff that's come from the planning commission and really hasn't accepted responsibility for the consequences of the policies that they've passed. And so I think it's really, I believe it's important that the policies be stated as they are, and that the people who are accountable, who should be accountable for them, are accountable.
All right.
Peter, far more eloquent than I will be. I agree with most of what you said. You know, the 16th, let's hope for a new set of proposals that's ambitious for a volunteer group. But certainly for me, I take Chuck's comments to heart, both on Front Porch Forum and in this meeting. But I do believe that this plan being proposed right now represents progress. It's ready, and it's one step in the right direction.
Thank you.
I don't have anything additional.
Totally fine. Yeah, I really appreciate Peter's comments, and yeah, I appreciate the amount of research that Chuck puts in. Also agree on the tone, but I do a lot of it. I spend a lot of time thinking about it, and I certainly hope that people don't think that we don't think about a lot of those things, even if we don't always vote that way. That's the way we are with everything, I think. I don't know if we all got one of these. I got an email today from Greg Tatro, who is the owner of the
No,
of the area over there. And I wanted to share that email, and it was, Greg thinks that these are really good changes. And that he thinks that the planet, he appreciates the amount of work, the amount of, I guess I could read it. It was just really good to hear, because I've kind of been wondering, and
that is good.
to my fault, I've never checked in with him, even though I had plenty of opportunity to. Anyway, there was something specific that he said that I wanted to mention. I was impressed with the dedication and amount of knowledge they had learned along the way. So I think that is a really good indicator that these are the right changes that are going to help the people that literally are going to be the ones building the thing. So
That's true.
I was really pleased to read that, and quite surprised, because one of those things, been meaning to reach out, and I did.
That is terrific. That's good to hear. Because they really did do a lot of work, and appreciate what Chris is, and, you know, because there was all those changes, so, you know, I certainly appreciate it, and answering all the questions that I had over the time.
I need one more thing before we close this section out.
A motion. I make a motion to accept the current zoning bylaw grant changes to our zoning. And accept it.
I second that, and Laura Crane.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Chris.
Chris.
Thank you, planning commission. All right, I think that's the end of our agenda. Thanks, everybody.
That's right.
Just kidding.
Let's go home. Let's all go down to a beer or something.
Are you gonna make a first comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're not here.
We're gonna let the room settle just for a minute. That was a ton of work that just happened. Like, I know it's a quick little speech here, but that is a ton of work that happened and a ton of discussions and by more than just people on the committees. So that's a really big deal that just happened. Okay. In order to make our meetings more efficient, we are limiting public comment to the beginning of the meeting, which is now. The public to be heard section. Select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. There will occasionally be agenda items where we will ask for public comment. Today, we will be allowing public comment on the Jericho Center speed bumps. Again, please don't use the Zoom chat for anything other than technical issues like, hey, I can't get off mute, I can't raise my hand, something like that. So the way I want to do this is I'm going to open it up for public to be heard. This is for anything in the world except for speed bumps. There will be discussion for speed bumps after this portion of the meeting. So not related to the bylaw modernization grant because you missed your chance for that. Not related to speed bumps. Public to be heard. What do you got for me? For us? Sorry.
Perhaps a much less weighty topic than what we just heard. I live, my name is Ray Kerr, and I live at 197 Silly Hill Road. And we have had a drainage problem for years. We've lived there approximately 30 years and watched the road, so forth. And we've been trying to work with Paula to get material that has drained into up against my stone wall, filled it up, and it's overflowing onto my lawn.
Yes, we have received letters and we have approved the letters back. So I believe I don't remember them word for word, but we are aligned with Paula on that. I think we sent a last letter that said something, I don't remember exactly what it said, but we gave you some advice of what we would need before we could.
Well, you were talking about me dismantling 620 feet of stone wall, cutting down numerous mature maples in front of my home, and none of that is necessary. I don't know where you're getting your information from, where you're getting your recommendations from. What I have been asking for all along is much less expensive and not as difficult. All we want that material which drain down the road removed and to create swale. We don't need a Suez Canal in front of our house. We need a place for the water to go. And we need a culvert under our driveway. We're, I believe, the only people on Silly Hill without a culvert under our driveway. And without a culvert, the water can't drain. And it's going to be an ongoing, continuing problem until there's a culvert put in. And the road at the bottom of our property is also washing out because there's no place for the water to go. And at some point, we're going to have a major deluge and the road's going to get washed out. I think it's asking little enough to just have the town come in and remove all the material that's come off your road, filled in the ditch that was there. You've done it once. Adam came in and removed the dirt at my request. But they didn't put in a culvert, so it has since filled right in again.
We can't really take action because this isn't an agenda item. The challenge is that I need the road crew to be able to weigh in, and he does happen to be here tonight. But we can't really get into it because it's not on the agenda. Would you be okay, sir, if we add it to the next agenda? If Jacob, I don't want to
try to get on the agenda for tonight's unsuccessful.
Email.
I know,
Yeah.
and we have people to deal with this, and you don't like our answer, so I think you need.
Paula has promised and failed to come over.
That is not correct.
You haven't.
I have had conversations numerous with Jacob.
You called me. And
Yes.
and you agreed, this is Jacob. You called me and said that you would get with him and arrange a meeting with me. You never called back, ever. And we emailed you twice. Twice. And got no response. All I'm asking is
Not
that
true.
you please come by and listen to what I have to say and to show you about the problem.
Jim, if you were recording this, are you recording?
Beg your pardon?
Are you recording?
This is a public meeting, Paula, and I'm not part of this discussion.
Can we at least, Paula, have you and you come over and meet with me?
I'll come by.
Please.
I'll find 15 minutes with
Please.
Jacob and I'll come by because I don't
Please.
like the accusations to the staff. And I'll come by, but I know that I've seen tons of
This-
dialogue.
This is
I will
not
come
an
by
accusation.
sometime in the next 3 weeks.
This is
Is
true.
that okay?
Within 3 weeks. We may not, if we need,
I can't commit his time any sooner than that, and I certainly. can't
and
commit
in the
my time.
meantime, you know, what are we gonna do? You know, this is your responsibility, not mine. Why do I have to have the town's road washing over onto my property?
I
My
hear you, I hear you.
driveway-
So this is, it's not an agenda item. I gave you public to be heard. I'm agreeing to come visit. I think that's plenty. And I'm gonna bring the road crew guy with me who actually knows what he's talking about. And I know Paula has responded to you. I'm not accepting that she hasn't.
No,
Because I have
she hasn't.
seen copies.
No, she
I have
has
seen
not.
that.
She called and she
Okay.
never called. back.
Enough. We're done. I will come by, I
I'm done.
promise. What, number 197?
97,
Thank
you
you.
can't miss it.
Any other public to be heard? Not about speed bumps.
Nope. It's an easy.
Sorry, his hand was up first, so you don't have to come up if you don't want. You can.
Dan Westover, Snipe Island Road, kind of a little bit along those lines, but I would request that the town do a better job deciding what the measures are for maintenance of the right of way of roads and not let individuals, we're going down a slippery road when people don't want the right of way mowed because it's pollinator habitat or whatever. The discussion shouldn't be about whether something is diamonds in the rough, weeds, pollinator habitat or not. It's what is the town's policy on maintaining a right of way? Because as soon as you let somebody say, don't mow this, then somebody's gonna say, don't ditch in front of my house because I want the salamanders in the overgrown ditch. And then I know last month, I believe you approved Barrett's Tree Service cutting down trees, emerald ash borer trees on Shellhammer Road. Again, if you let somebody say, don't mow, then you let somebody say, don't ditch, then you let somebody say, don't cut the tree in front of my house, because I really like this tree. I think the town's on a really slippery slope by not establishing a standard and sticking to it.
Thank you for your comments.
Jim Betledge. I live in the foothills and I travel Raceway Road. And I keep forgetting to call, but if you are going on to 15, taking a right across from the bank, there's this beautiful hedge of goldenrod that is blocking the view to the right. So if somebody could come over and just mow that down, it'd be a lot safer to pull out onto 15.
Sorry, can you restate
So-
where you're coming out?
You on Raceway Road on the bank side.
Yep,
If you're gonna turn right to go west,
Off a raceway onto 15.
off the Raceway onto 15,
at this end or the,
At the bank.
at the bank end, this end,
oh,
yes,
that
this
kind
end.
of bank. There's a bank,
Oh,
at
right.
both- there's a
Oh,
bank
right,
at
yeah.
both ends.
Not the market, I know what you meant, out to the gym.
Yeah, community bank.
Yeah.
I think it's community bank. The brick bank, the brick.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so right there, if you were to take a right to go west on 15, you can't see.
Yep.
And it's just a bunch of goldenrod, it just needs to be cut down.
Thanks, Jim. Other public to be heard? Did not look.
Hello, this is from a Zoom.
Hello? Can you
Hello.
state your name?
Yes, this is Pete Davis from Fitzsimons Road. Not regarding the speed bumps, but I just wanted to applaud the efforts of the select board on doing a great job on really letting people know about the construction of the new bridge on Brown's Trace. I was anticipating the absolute worst with traffic just routing down Fitzsimons Road, but kudos to you guys for really doing a great job signing the road and making sure that it was not parking issues at mobs, which was really appreciated. And I also wanted to commend you guys for doing an awesome job at the head of Nashville Road with that new paving. It just saves your shock absorbers so much, because before it was just potholes and just miserable to go across. But with that new paving, it really makes a huge difference entering that area of the town. So thank you.
Appreciate that, Pete. Thank you.
We say thank you too for that.
We need it on Raceway.
Okay. Next on the agenda, the discussion of speed humps in Jericho. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to hold public comment until after the select board discusses. I do promise to allow public comment on this issue, but I think this is going to be the smoothest way to handle the issue. I asked for this agenda item to be on as it's clearly a hot topic. I think most people agree on a few very high level things. The bumps work to control speed, and the bumps are pretty aggressive. Okay. I know that is a very blatant over maybe too high level of a view. I don't normally start by my own thoughts, but I just think this is going to help move things along. So on the bumps are aggressive part, I have a few things to talk about. They're very jarring. For me, the bumps seem to impact the following people the most, which doesn't feel great. People with older vehicles. So I went and bought a fancy new truck. I probably shouldn't have. So when I drive over those things with my brand new fancy truck, it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. My wife, I'm still having drive a car with 150,000 miles on it. And when I drive over it with that car, it's a much different feeling. So it kind of makes me feel like we're targeting people with older, more broken down cars, more so than maybe new cars with better shocks. The next group of people is work trucks with heavy loads, trucks pulling trailers, dump trucks, people working, trying to like make a living. It seems like it's targeting, it seems like they target those people a little too unfairly. And then finally, there was a front porch forum story about a disability modified vehicle. I don't know what the best way to term that, but yeah, like an accessible van that was really struggling with those. So, you know, here's what I think I'd like to do with this agenda item. I think that we should, as a group, a select board group, that we should vote to remove those bumps. Paul's going to help us with the definition with the bumps.
They're bumps, they're not humps.
I think we should vote to remove those 3 items from the center, and at the same time spend a little time talking about what we can put in there in their place, because you know, on the other point, they really did work to calm the speeds. Residents of Jericho Center have voiced concerns for years, and I think that there's some real fear that the select board will just pull these things up and not do anything else. So I think what the board needs to do is agree to remove the current installation and spend some time tonight reviewing other options that are less aggressive. And I'd like to spend some time reviewing as a board with Paula on what other options we have and discuss. So I asked her to pull some stuff together, and she did a good job with not too much time to pull some things together. And so cool, you've got that up and you're going to share that. So before I ask the audience that's, I think, ready to talk about it, does that work for this select board?
No, because, you know, I agree that we have passion on both sides. We have issues, like as you said, particularly with the disabled, you know, disability van. But the key is with if you're trying to do something tonight, it's not going to happen for a long period of time. But the road crew has things to do, and if we wait till the end of the month people have an opportunity to continue learning how to use it, because even the stuff on enrichment that people say, oh, we should try that. Lots of people complain about that for months, for over a month before people got used to it. Because the other thing is because they're gonna have to be pulled up anyway. Let's continue to the end of the month. People may be able to figure out how your car, because I have a 2014 CRV and I go over those at 20 miles an hour and it's perfectly fine.
20 miles an hour?
Yes. And CRV, and there are other people who have CRVs that go over it at 20, and you actually have less bump than if you go over slower. I went out in the middle of the night, because nobody's there to pay attention to what I'm doing with my car. And did it at different speeds and found that 20 worked for that. And of course, I'm used to it. So we put a whole bunch of junk in the
But
back.
you live on Nashville Road, so your sense of like how roads should be.
Well, the fact is, we put a whole bunch of junk in the back of the car that makes noise, and we drive on our road, and we drove on that and found that 20 miles an hour was actually, if you go too low, it didn't work. If you went too high, obviously you were really causing problems. And some of the work vehicles were because they didn't realize there were 3 and went too fast, on the third one. But I would like to wait till the end of the month, pull it up for the season, and give us the winter to talk about what is going to be the best one, because whatever we come up tonight is another short-term solution that you're not going to get to, because you have to have all kinds of extra asphalt and everything else to make any speed tables or anything else. And if we paint something, I'm afraid because people are so angry, those that use Brown's Trace as a throughway, it's just public nature that they're going to say, I'm going to show you, and actually go faster when they get to go again.
Okay, so
Some people will do that.
I appreciate those comments.
No matter, I mean, there's good comments on both sides. We need to actually measure, because there's people who've done the data and say speed bumps are, this kind of size, and the speed humps are this size. And going over it, it looked like the I didn't have my measuring tape with me when I did that, but it looks like it meets the criteria for speed humps in terms of the measurements rather than speed bumps. Because if you go over it too slow, it really jars you much more than if you smooth, go at whatever speed your car made.
So I hear all that, Catherine, and I actually don't disagree with much. Here's my thing. I don't think I've seen an issue divide this town as much as these 3 speed bumps are.
That's true.
I follow people through, they aggressively go around them, like come close to hitting the sign, they aggressively go on the other side, take out the wherever. I see like, when I see like I can just see the rage in the way they're driving over them.
Well, that's why I'm concerned that they're just
I
gonna
don't-
just fly through afterwards.
No.
I don't think
Some will. We know because
Okay,
people.
hold on, right now, this is the board talking.
Yeah, I will open up to public. I promise that I will, okay? But I think it's important for us to have, we're not supposed to talk about this stuff outside of the away from the public. So this is our chance to have some of these conversations. So I hear you. Appreciate.
I do agree with some of the things you said. I mean, it is a much more divisive issue.
Okay.
I do agree that, but I was just thinking we give it a little bit more time and then spend a longer time working on a solution that, is better for the long term.
I was hoping that we could remove them for winter and then see if there's an alternative that's affordable to the town that might work better. What is roughly the timing for removing them for the winter? November, December?
Would have to be for first plow. So December would probably be too, I guess, actually.
Yeah, that guy will know.
Probably the beginning of October.
October,
Yep.
so like it.
In a month.
Yep.
Then that's what it sells it for me. I would like to take them out if we're only talking about 3 weeks to, because it's to get them on the schedule already, to me, it's the same thing. Same with taking them out.
Here.
I think they're interesting because I went and stopped on the top of one late one night and they do not look that high and they look super wide. But when you go over it, it's like hitting a wall. I think they need to go. And I think I went down to Cochrane Road and drove over those. And I think those are what we need. I'm not sure we need to put that we have to go so I think Cochrane Road is, the three at the beginning of Cochrane Road, I think are really good. They used to have some on North Williston Road in Williston, just over the bridge that washes out heading into Williston. And I called their public works person today and talked to him. He said, yeah, they come right up. They're like mobile. They don't get screwed in. They move them around wherever they want. And he said that he told them where they got them from, which was Traffic Logic, I think it was called. And I tried to get in touch with them today to see like what they cost. And I couldn't get in touch with them. That's either if we went the permanent route of pavement, that feels like a lot of money. I think that a less expensive and potentially mobile that can get moved around if we decide we don't want them here anymore, or we need to move them. We need two on one side and one on the other or whatever. That getting rubber ones that can get moved around, I think gives us more flexibility, and I think it's cheaper than doing the permanent type that are in front of the market the desos right now. But I do think they need to go as soon as the crew can get to them. They've also put a ton of time and money into putting them down. And I don't think it's fair to them to say, hey, stop everything you're doing, put these in, 3 weeks later, stop everything you're doing again, take them back up. I think we need to, that if Jacob says, yeah, I hear you, but we can't get them out until October 1st. I think we need to publicize, tell people that and say, we're not gonna tell the road crew, we're not gonna yank the road crew around and say, do this, no, don't do this, now undo it. So I feel like those are the two. I think it needs to come out as soon as possible. It needs to get replaced with something, and I think we need to talk with Jacob about what is feasible, and then we need to communicate that as the most important piece everywhere about the decision, whatever it ends up being, and the timetable, and why the timetable is not Friday morning at 8 a.m.
Jacob, would it impact your schedule, which Jacob and the crew are working on a big project over on Plains Road. That project has to be done by the end of September, because it's part of grant work that we do as part of our regular maintenance. My question to you is, could you get those up in the next, say, week, without impacting your timeline of getting Plains Road completed before the end of September?
I think it'd be very tight to do so. I think a more realistic time would be to try and split the difference between the timeline we plan to take them out, and then, and this week, so within 2 weeks, a definite, we could take those out. If for some reason something comes up or we get done this project sooner, I would be happy to go over and start that project of removing those.
Okay. So what I think we should do is make a motion about removing them and then go directly into the presentation that Paula has about other options. And maybe there's not enough information there for us to figure out what the replacement is.
Hey, Eric. I do not believe that the raise your hand thing is working on our end of Zoom.
I haven't seen it, so it probably isn't.
I don't even have the option to click on it.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't exist. Regardless, let me know. I would myself, and I think at least 1 or 2 other people might want to chime in.
Yeah, there's absolutely going to be a public to be heard section. I want to get this part worked out amongst the board, which obviously has a lot to discuss still. So
yeah, and my just a real quick one is you pull those out too quickly and you're conceding a loss. Stick by your regular schedule. It's blissful here in the center right now in terms of safety, but I understand more needs to be done. With that in mind, I am going to sign out. Thank you all for your work, for your help. Grand Champ, I see you down there. I want to talk to you after. Ciao. Oh yeah, this is Joel Bedard, 11 at 15 Jericho Center Circle.
Well, I would make a motion that we take up the bumps, humps, whatever you want to call them, but I think the humps, no later than the end of September. But if the project finishes earlier, then it gets taken up then.
Say then at the earliest convenience of the road crew.
Yes,
And by October first.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Right.
by October 1st at the latest.
at the latest.
Any chance you'd be willing to throw like. I really want them gone. This issue, I have gotten more emails about this than I got about the zoning regulations that are gonna impact the rest of the entire future of the town. I've got more emails about this than I got about remember the masks? Like first year, like do we ban masks or we don't? Like we got more emails about this than about the masks. That was like that was a big one,
It
right?
was a big one, you're
Well, what
right.
do you want? How do you want to change the proposed motion?
I want them gone before October.
Like
Like
as soon as
now.
possible, but we don't want to.
Right.
So that's
That's why we said
That's the language.
no later than the end of September, or
As
earlier.
soon as possible.
But that's doing nothing.
No,
He already said they're coming up in October.
But or at their earliest convenience.
It's directly-
No later than the end of September. Or at their earliest convenience, because we want their project to be
I mean, the
done.
motion can just be as soon as possible.
Yeah.
We can't make Jacob go and do it tomorrow morning. It's just
No,
not fair.
we can't.
No, but he said he could do them in the next 2 weeks.
Right, and that's what we're hoping he'll do.
But if you can't, you have to,
But I don't think we need to, speaking for myself. I'm willing to take phone calls when someone says, this is bullshit, this is, you can't do this, you gotta get them out sooner. I'm gonna say, listen, I'm not gonna
No,
yank
no.
my road crew around like that.
That's right, exactly.
And I hear what you're saying, we're doing as fast as we can, but we're not gonna upend the entire road crew plan for the summer because the board made a mistake.
Okay. Make your motion.
I did.
What's your motion again?
That for the road crew to take up the speed humps.
Good,
No.
never mind, yep,
No.
sorry.
That's what the
Yeah.
company called them, the speed humps. No later than the end of September or at the road crew's earliest convenience. So as not to disrupt their schedule.
Can I make a friendly amendment to that motion? Can we change the language to be a little more clear that we want the road that we're gonna, to a motion to direct the road crew to remove the speed, whatever, hump bumps as soon as possible and no later than the end of the month. I think that if people are reading minutes and it says as soon as possible, that reads different than at your convenience. It's like, oh, if you have more free time, wander over there and get it done. It's as soon as possible within your work plan.
All right. I'll go
And
ahead.
it just communicates, I need to communicate to the public that we're not just like, oh, whatever.
No, it's not a
Hear
whatever.
them and
Yeah.
we're, right,
It's because the road crew needs to be able to do their work.
right.
And I'm okay with the motion, but I'm gonna vote no, because I think they can come up as planned in mid-October.
Well, we don't have a second yet, so
Okay.
we don't.
Well,
We're not to the vote. Yeah.
Yes, that.
I will second pulling that up as soon as possible before October 1st.
All those, that was Amy. Who seconded, all those in favor
But
say
now,
aye.
now will be, I think, time for comments on the, before voting.
Right.
Like if Laura, for example, hadn't sort of said in the middle, like, hey, just, I'm gonna vote no, she might wanna say something.
Okay. Yeah, normally we don't do it that
I
way.
know,
but-
I know.
But I notice other towns do that. We usually do the comments first,
Yeah,
so.
that's true. And she made a comment.
She did,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because I'd rather, I'd like to see it last longer, but, it doesn't look like that. But I'd like to see it last to the end of the month and then take your
Welcome
own.
to a 5-person board, you can vote now.
That's true.
On your own.
On your own.
That would be weird. Okay, so,
I'm used to that.
so,
I'm used to having.
so is it, what does the board want to do? Do you want to go to public comment now? Or do you want to vote on this and then go to public comment about what we do next? I really want, whatever we do with this, I want to talk about what we do next.
They still won't speak up, so.
again, thinking from a PR perspective, I feel like it would be better if somebody wants to say, I think you're making a big mistake, please don't pull them out.
Right.
Oh, it's too late, we already did that. Like, everybody here is like, no, 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 don't do that.
And you got people who are going, oh, yes, please. do
So,
that.
so I think,
Okay, all right, so we will open up to public comment, and I'm gonna start with, the first one I saw was online,
Mhm.
was Sarah,
Well, first was Joel technically, but.
well, he threw off.
He's going now.
Hi, Sarah, go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I live here in Jericho Center, right next to the country store. I feel like folks have probably heard from both sides enough. I find myself on the camp with strong support for the speed bumps, but I do hear and see obviously a high volume of comments against the bumps, which I also respect. But I'd ask the board to consider that while we're all drivers over these bumps, only those spending a significant time in the center really see the before and after. We see the traffic slower, the noise is reduced, and the neighborhood does feel much safer. So I'd advocate if there are any changes in structure, that they preserve that same level of safety for now, example. And then regarding the removal of the current bumps, as a mom and an ER doctor in the community, I would humbly ask whether the board would consider removing the bumps after Halloween trick-or-treating.
Sarah, thank you for your comments. In this one case, if you wouldn't mind typing out what you said, because you did cut out and I want to keep moving. So just Sarah has permission to use the chat, please. So go ahead and just to make sure we caught it all. Appreciate your comment.
Will do. Thank you.
Next comment is from the room, the gentleman in the back.
Sean Pan, I live at 358 Browns Trace, which is directly opposite the Richmond side speed bump. I will agree with you 100% that it has effectively slowed down traffic. My kids are grown, but I'm happy to have slow traffic go through there. But I have two problems with those bumps. I drive a truck, so I'm not impacted by that. But the noise of other trucks going over, particularly tractor trailers, military, anybody with a trailer, small or not, is an incredible amount of noise in a peaceful neighborhood. Secondly, I'm not on Facebook, but there are a lot of discussions of people who are laying on their horns as they approach the bump, over the bump, and after the bump. And I think they're doing that on all three. I didn't ask for this in the budget. I didn't ask for the speed bumps. I'm happy to have slow traffic in front of my house, but I'm not happy about people laying on their horns to protest for someone that didn't impact that. So I will be coming to you in 6 months if the bumps return to ask for law enforcement to protect us from peaceful disturbance. So my primary concern is from a first response perspective. I'm on the fire department here, I run EMS here, and I also run EMS with a variety of other organizations in this service area. Our fire trucks carry a minimum of 1,000 gallons of water. That's 8,000 pounds. I worry about the impact and the aging that those bumps will have on those apparatus. And coincidentally, over the weekend, we had 3 acute calls, medical calls, that dictated we go code 3 to the hospital, which means lights and sirens and driving with due regard. And in the back of the ambulance, we were doing IVs. We were suctioning compromised airways. So we had tools in people's mouths, and we were intubating patients, which is taking their air away from them. So those are difficult things to do. Going through Jericho Center. We pride ourselves in being able to do that in the roads of Vermont, of course, and we are on back roads and there are potholes and all that. But this is something that we could avoid And that was just this weekend alone. So, something to consider. So those are my comments. That's all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
I'll go to online. I'm trying to balance between online and in person. I think Karen had your hand up next.
Thank you. Yes, I don't live in the center per se. I'm on Fitzsimons Road, Karen Davis. And I find it interesting that a few items weren't mentioned as the impact on one's body. I have a very bad back and I have a good car because my car was totaled at an intersection in Jericho, not my fault at all. So I'm in a nice Volkswagen but I have a really bad back and I've lived here 40 years and I know mud season roads are bad and I try to avoid the bad sections, but these are unavoidable if you go through the center. You have to go over them. And I was going over them at 5 miles an hour, and I will all disagree how fast to go and how slow to go. But at 5 miles an hour, that was the best for my body and my car. And the guy behind me, or woman, the person, was right on my tail on every bump. And this happened yesterday when I went to pay my tax bill. And when I went in with my tax bill, I said, "You want the bill, take the bumps up," because I was really angry. My body can't handle going over those bumps. I'm approaching 70, lived here my whole adult life. I love the center. My kids grew up here. We love going to the store, to the library, but I will not go through the center. I went through it yesterday one more time just to see how I really felt. So I came back over Shillhammer. And I won't even tell you who recommended that, but that's where they're doing the work. And I had to intrude on their big work that they're doing there. So the work crew that you're talking about slowing down is guiding. I imagine that's not only me that's going up Plains and over Shillhammer to reroute around the center. So, there's two sides to that where I'm not sure what the work crew prefers. But I am 200% find another means to slow traffic. And I was at a meeting, it had to be 30 years ago, with a state trooper at the community center. How do we slow cars down through the center? Put up trees, put in sidewalks so that people see it's a pedestrian area. It's a pedestrian byway. And we've done all that, which is fantastic. And I'm not there all the time. I don't know how fast people go. I go slow when I go through there. There's the speed bump. I went up Cochran's Road the other day to see their speed bumps. Yeah, they're a bother, but they don't jar my car and my body. And I would vote to install something to that effect.
Thank you for your comments, Karen.
Thank you.
So
yes, Rob Grandchamp, Terra 4 Browns Trace. I lived in Jericho 11 years. I think I've been to 2 select board meetings, one about sewers and one about the sidewalk that magically showed up in my front yard one day. So I generally don't complain about what's going on here, but these bumps, speed humps, whatever you're going to call them, are quite literally affecting my sense of living. I have 3 little children, ages 3, 5, and 7. All we hear day in and day out is bump, bump, bump. You got a bump right next to my mailbox. I'm afraid somebody's going to take out my mailbox. I don't let my kids play in the front yard anymore because I'm afraid that they are going to get run over if somebody comes in my yard trying to avoid one of the bumps. But the noise, yes, I want people to slow down in Jericho Center. Again, I have 3 little kids. I don't want them speeding through there, but these things are ridiculous. I'd like to invite the 5 of you over to my house for a cup of coffee, sit in my front yard for 45 minutes, an hour. You'll very quickly get very, very annoyed. All you hear is people hitting those bumps. The trailers are ridiculous. Somebody pulls a trailer over one of those things. It's ridiculous. The Jake brakes from the 18-wheelers that go over. It's ridiculous. The noise is atrocious. I want those things. I'm asking you, please take them out as soon as you can. You want to slow down traffic in Jericho Center. I can tell you, having lived there 11 years, the best thing that'll slow somebody down is seeing the sheriff, seeing the stadies pull somebody over. I'd rather see the money you're going to spend on traffic calming, whatever it might look, get more police hours, get more sheriff hours, look at getting a town constable to run radar up there. Because having lived there, I can tell you, as soon as people see the sheriff sitting in the Jericho Center Fire Station or pulling somebody over, they slow down really fast. But right now, the noise, the noise, especially my favorite, is people honking at the bumps. People literally honk at the bumps. 10:30 last night, folks were honking at the bumps. Some guy in a giant, truck, and as soon as he got on the other side, headed down towards MMU, he jammed on the gas and probably went 40 flying down by the fire station. So again, I invite you over for a cup of coffee, sit in my front yard. You'll get really quickly as annoyed as I do. Thank you.
Are we delayed again?
Oh,
Yeah, we had massive delay.
Massive delay.
It's huge.
Sir, could you do me a favor, walk over and unplug that and plug it back in?
This?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you. IT, that's how we fix everything.
Yeah, because it really was, the delay was going, huh?
I was like, why am I watching him?
It was like a minute and a half late.
Yeah, I hadn't been paying attention, so sorry about that too. Okay. Going back to the internet. Brian Appleberry.
Yep.
Brian, go ahead if you can hear us. You're on mute, Brian.
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yep.
I think the speed bumps that are there are terrible. I live on Plains Road, so I drive that and drive Skunk Hollow a fair amount. What I'm somewhat familiar with that make a lot more sense to me are two examples. One is the most severe one on Skunk Hollow Road, which is near number 55 Skunk Hollow Road. And if you want something that's tolerable but more severe, one I can think of is Upper North Street in Burlington. They definitely slow you down, but they're not jarring. They're not. And now, if I may, a quick question: who in the world specified those speed bumps?
The select board.
Yeah, based on.
We went with the same speed bump that they use in Enosburg.
And it was a mistake.
Yeah, it wasn't what we wanted. It
looked like
it really didn't. I thought it was going to be a lot more. I knew it was going to be a temporary one that would come up in the winter. I was thinking a little bit more aggressive than a Skunk Hollow bump, but not like this is what I had in mind. And clearly, we should have done more research. We should have.
But it was the least expensive way of trying something too.
Thank you for your comment, Brian. I can't remember if you already spoke for this one or not. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Dan Westover, Snipe Island Road. I definitely want to see him gone tomorrow, but as the board continues to think about what they're going to get replaced with, as that obviously seems like a conversation. As I drive my truck at 10 miles an hour through town now, I look around and it's really not as pretty as we'd like it to believe it is. Gravel is washed into the roads. Sidewalks aren't maintained. Crosswalks aren't painted. Fog lines are not painted. There are lots of things to make pedestrian life safer without going to extreme measures. I think we should start with some of that, a little beautification of our town center. It's kind of run down when you look around. Community center, there's nothing against the community center, but the parking lot washes into the road. Again, I don't think the town even owns a power broom to go on a skid steer or tractor. We should be maintaining our center. A little beautification. Tourist season is coming. I know the center store needs that money, other businesses do. When we make the center oppressive to drive through, nobody's gonna want to come back to Jericho again. The busiest place I can think of in Vermont for pedestrian and vehicle traffic in close proximity would be the airport. They don't even need to do anything this crazy. You drive to the airport to drop off or pick up a passenger. there's nothing ridiculous there. There's stop signs and some flashing lights, but it works. I drive through Stowe Village, I drive through Johnson, I drive through Woodstock, Vermont. We just set a standard that is over the top compared to any other place that has tourists, pedestrians, residential, community mixed together. And I really think the board needs to take a good look at the big picture and the way they want visitors to see the town green when they go through before they construct anything again other than some road paint.
Thank you. Bill?
Bill Butler, I don't like the bumps, but I'm happy, not happy, I'm really willing to be calm about it and go along with your schedule for removal. What I want to say is two things. You're listening to us, that's crucial and so appreciated. The other thing is you're trying to solve a very serious problem that we all have been talking about for years. And I commend you for it. And I thank you for it.
Thanks, Bill. Bernie?
Don't know if you should sit beside her.
Whatever makes people more comfortable. The mics pick you up no matter what.
My name's Bernie Paquette. I live on Brown Trace in Jericho. Before I go through my spiel, I'll just comment that I have subjective opinions. Like everybody else.
Please
I ask
keep your spiel to as
I ask
brief as you can.
I ask the board to consider the CCRCP, which has objective information. I hear people talking about speeds. We have facts of what the speeds are in this town. Please look at that report and give that as much weight as you do opinions. As far as some of the comments that were made about the noise, there's ways to mitigate the noise. If we talk about what's going on in Richmond. Richmond went through a month and a half of people beeping the horns. That's not because of speed tables or bumps. That's because of driver behavior. That's what we're talking about here, driver behavior, not cement or rubber or anything else. And that's what people have been complaining about for 30 years. Only they've been coming in drips and drabs and they're tired of coming because nothing gets done. We all share a common goal, safety. Rooted in the value of caring for one another. Jericho center speed limit is 25 miles an hour. It's not arbitrary, it's a safety requirement. Lower speeds protect pedestrians, reduce noise, minimize vehicle damage. Every driver has a power to reduce noise and prevent damage and increase safety just by slowing down. Whether the speed pumps on individual vehicles' conditions and the drivers necessitates 20, 15, 10, or 5 miles an hour. It's a few seconds of our time to save a life potentially. And it's the law. Here are two options to consider. Option one, you're already looking at potentially removing it, whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks. They were going to get removed anyway, fine. What do we do after that's what's more important? How do we retain the effect that a lot of people, both sides of the discussion here, have applauded? The traffic has slowed. And by the way, when this grouping of cars that people talk about, somebody pulled up next to me as I'm going over the bump, that's added to the slowing down because as it 3 or 4 cars end up bunching up and then they all can't zoom back after they get past the hump. So that's effective. So we got to understand what's going on. And I agree with Rob and other people. You want to understand what's really going on else? Go by the speed sign. Look at the speed that cars are coming before they approach the first bump. Watch how much they slow down. Watch the speed that it says they're going over that bump. And then correlate that to the noise. That's where the noise is coming from. It's based on that speed. And by the way, a heavy truck is quieter than a less loaded truck. People in National Guard have told me that they experienced that as well. So the transit options. Option one is make the transition period next spring, replace them with speed rubber humps, rubber speed humps that are less aggressive, like used in Burlington. Burlington doesn't have a problem with. They're 2.1 inches high, 19.5 wide, 35 in length. The width is really important. It's as important as the height. That's what makes them less aggressive.
Yeah, we've learned a lot.
Fine. So they're less aggressive, they're most effective of the three categories of things you might choose from, tables, islands, etc. They're easy to maintain. They're on when pedestrians are most active. They're off during the winter, which gives drivers a reprieve and a chance to demonstrate a change in behavior, which is what we're hoping all, I think, would agree we're trying to do, to drive within the posted speed limit. The second option are speed tables and raised crosswalks. They're less effective at reducing average speed. I still think they're a second good option, but drivers don't slow down below the posted speed. As we've observed on Skunk Hollow, the rigid construction is harder on vehicles than the rubber material. They're costlier and they're less adaptable. The permanent ones, we put them in, we're stuck with them, whether they work or not. So that's the worst case scenario, right? You go over something you really don't like to go over and they're not helping slow the speed down. Final considerations, whatever option you choose, please examine the effectiveness. We don't want to put something in that's less effective than what we're doing now today. Understand the installation and maintenance costs and make sure the public is aware of that. Understand the material and design specifications. You've already admitted that's part of what we kind of missed crossing that T. And then look at the lessons from nearby communities, Burlington and Richmond. And regarding the specification of
Bertie, you're well over time.
2 sentences. Regarding the specification of any option, if a driver's comfortable in going over any deflection at 25, they're gonna go faster afterwards. So please, let's not go backwards. The heart of the matter, it's our shared commitment to one another. It's our shared responsibility. Let's choose solutions that are effective in supporting behavior change.
Thank you, Bertie. There's a Lee Lampier with her hand up. Lee?
You're muted.
Oh, am I on?
You're good, yep.
Yes. So thanks. I'm going to be much briefer than the gentleman before me. Very much against the speed bumps. Seeing way worse behavior now than I saw before. I think everybody in our town is respectful of the speed limit. We have a lot of other people driving through the town, yes. I think that a less aggressive speed bump on both sides makes sense. And I plead with the select board to listen to common sense. People have been, there's a lot of people who have been speaking about this very loudly. And I think there's a handful of them that speak very, very loudly. One of them just spoke and seems to have a lot of say over what happens in this room. And I just plead with you, there's a lot more people in this town who would rather take a common sense approach to this as opposed to whatever the heck that was. And I mean, I'm seeing people drive through the crown jewel of Jericho, which is the pollinator garden. Like where are we? So thanks for listening and good luck with this.
Thank you. Robin?
Robin Bartlett, I'm not gonna bore you with telling you what I think of this, because I did that last meeting. But anyway, what did each speed bump cost?
$7,500
Each or total?
total.
Yeah.
And a day of the road cruise time.
You know, a lot of
And
it.
day and a half, 2 days of road crew time and probably 4 hours to pull them up, you think? 3.5, 2? Maybe an hour?
I'm not giving
I'm
up.
just kidding. Go ahead, go on.
This is what I would like to suggest. If the town is too tied up to do this, a lot of other things that we do in this town, we sub out. I'm sure if you call J.D. Bugby or David Villeneuve or anybody that's in the construction business, if you get this done next week. And like I say, I don't want to bore my comments, but I would just, because once I heard you say they were leaving, I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
Oh, we haven't voted yet, sir. You never know.
Sub the thing out, if the guys are too tied up to get it done, get it done.
Thank you. Sabina? You're welcome to speak. After this comment, I won't be taking comments that have already been said. We'll only be accepting new points that haven't been covered. Go ahead.
In light of everything you've said, I just want to say for the record, I know you all know this, but so it's on the record, in the town plan, in the building a connected community chapter. Strategy number 5 says, prioritize safety for all users over speed for vehicles on all Jericho roads using low design speeds, traffic calming, and complete streets features through updated public works specifications, road maintenance practices, and capital budgeting. So I hear all you're saying and I agree with it all, but I just want to say it's also here in writing, that's sort of
The direction.
the direction.
Yep.
So
Thank you, Sabrina. And Jim. What do we to close out? Maybe this could be the last one. Jim,
Sure.
as brief as you can.
The Last Supper. First, I'd like to thank all of you and our new 5-member board for actually responding to a subject that had been raised. And I'd like to suggest, I've been here for a long time. I've seen people hit by cars. It's not pretty. So the seriousness of the subject should not be understated. And when we talk about money, I think we're spending about $161,000 a year on officer friendly. And I think we collect about $30,000 in revenue. I don't see that as an effective tool. If you think about it, this tool had 100% effect on the most sensitive area, okay? And going back to process, because I've been around for a long time, I went into the bathroom the night the speed bump in front of the store got approved, and it didn't go through a good process, and I think there was one bidder. I think it was 36 grand. I had just built a whole bunch of them, poured concrete over crushed gravel, compacted, that do not compress, and then we paved over them for 6 grand a piece. But I was so happy that something was happening. I just sat there and watched 28 grand go out the door. So I think we have a process problem in Jericho. We have a conservation commission, we have a planning commission. You just heard from Sabina, this is a really important subject. I think we need a task force, a blue ribbon group to follow a rational, logical methodology. And whether it's 20,000 or 30,000, all of those houses along that road, and I was only a realtor for 25 or 30 years, are worth a hell of a lot less because of the lack of safety, because of the noise, because of the aggressive driving, that lowers the revenue to the town. So there's good solutions here if we adopt a methodology, which is a process, to look at this and figure out how we can fix it. Because the methods that we're using, and I was the one who put the Jersey barrier on the far end of the common. I was the one who pushed for the stuff at Barber Farm Road because we'd seen horrendous things happen. People hit by cars. It's serious business that we're talking about. And reacting to this as compared to adopting a method of governance. We now have 5 members on the select board. 2 people can now talk to one another. We've got some other things from a governance perspective we'd like to see happen because the money from Washington's not going to flow. It's not going to come from Montpelier. We need to do things really smart. And I suspect if you spend 7 grand, you can probably sell them for 5. But all I'm saying is let's adopt a much better process that involves the citizens that are concerned and interested. We have highly qualified people in Jericho, and they're willing to donate their time.
Martha, do you have a comment that hasn't been covered already? If so, please feel free to voice it now. You're on mute.
Go ahead, Martha.
Oops.
Sabina?
Can I
Quickly.
just piggyback on what Jim just said and say that we have expertise in the bicycle pedestrian connectivity committee and Cody Phillips. And I know he would be interested in being part of this conversation when you do your deliberations further, and also local motion, Jack Evans has been a big help too, so that's two people who are already familiar with Jericho and would be willing to advise.
Thank you.
Am I unmuted?
No, you're.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to where I began. I think that we've investigated how these speed bumps have worked and possible mistakes and how they could have been different and whatever. I think that they served a purpose. I think that there's a lot of attention that's gone on those, and it's been a call to the speed and the speed control. It was voted on at a meeting to add that $30,000, and specifically it began with the speed control for the Jericho Center group. I think that it's done a good job. I don't think that we should push the Jericho road crew with all the screws and with the bits and the crap that were broken and the rented equipment. I don't think that we should push them to take those out more than October 1st. I think October 1st is fine. I think they've served a purpose, and we should come up with a different idea. However, we do need to look at the cost between what those speed tables take or cost. It like $28,000 for a speed table compared to $7,000 for 3 of these speed bumps. I'm not saying these speed bumps are accurate. They need some research, but those can be used other places in the town that possibly would be more beneficial. I think that everybody's done a good job. Everybody's expressed stuff. And I think that, it's just time to move on from the speed bumps, but we need to look at other things. And as far as, I think it was Dan mentioned about all of this talk about how the Jericho Center and all the goldenrod, all of this stuff and the pollinators and all of this stuff in Jericho Center, I think it looks like crap. I think that people should take more pride in their property and around it to mow that down. And it was said that this was some status in the way back that if you kept your lawns groomed, that somehow it did some thing of telling people that you were financially rich. Well, our lawns when I grew up on the farm were always mowed. They were always taken care of. And by far, we were not rich. We were a poor farm family. And that's just a matter of pride in the property that you own. So that's all I'm going to say. Take the bumps out the 1st of October, call it a day, and then have the winter to go back through and just see what needs to happen from here on in. I'm done.
Thanks, Martha. And I think that ends public comment on the motion that's on the floor, which is to remove the current speed humps in Jericho Center ASAP, which has a second. All those in favor?
That's not what ASAP, it was,
As soon as possible, but no later than October 1st.
Yes,
right.
as soon as possible, at no later than October 1st.
You gotta have to say the October 1st.
Yes, yeah.
As soon as possible, but no later than October 1st. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Oh,
That's 4. All opposed?
No.
No. Laura's a no. The motion passes. The speed bumps will be gone
ASAP.
10 a.m. tomorrow.
no, they.
Okay, do we still want to talk about the next piece that Paula put together and about what we want
I
instead?
think we should just visit it at a later date and try to.
We're talking about whatever, like.
So we go back in spring,
right?
Give us time
to look at it.
I think we're feeling hot again right now, right? Like that would be good, better decision once kind of.
Yeah, because that gives you that's why I'm thinking October 1st, maybe September, because that way you have the winter to discuss what are the options. What do we really have? Speed bump, speed hump,
I'll just go on the record and say I agree with the.
Hey, can folks take the conversation outside, please? We're still meeting.
Yeah, we still got a lot of stuff to cover. I think we need what they have on Cochrane Road. Peter said it first. I hate to agree with the guy, but I went and drove over them and I'm like, yep, they slow me down. They don't slow me down as much, but a little more than Skunk Hollow. I called Tyler Billingsley. I'm like, how much did those things cost to build?
He's our engineer.
He's our engineer. He called Richmond. Now, they did it themselves, and I don't know how, but like between $500 and $1,000 a piece.
Oh,
That's what I have it here in text.
It was over $20,000 for the speed table in the center.
$500 a
someone
piece.
said you got taken on that.
But they're,
Absolutely.
but he also said
Yeah.
they're a little tricky, right?
You have to have
If you
good
mess it up,
engineering.
then you get
Right.
what you've got now. You don't
Yeah.
do enough and you
Yeah.
get like, there's an art to it, but though that, I'm telling you, that's what those cost.
Huh. Cause.
And that was from
Cause it was the engineering
Tyler,
that cost of, you know.
from Richmond.
That's why you use concrete, not pavement.
Yeah,
But I think that we should, I agree with Amy, that we should just
Yeah.
all take a
Yeah.
breath.
Yeah.
And we've got the winter to figure it out, and we'll figure it out. I worry
But
about.
I think the people that really do like it, which there are some.
Yep.
There's quite a few,
They need to
actually.
know that we're gonna do something.
Absolutely,
Right.
100%.
Do we want to?
I think we need to, I think we need to publicize through Front Porch Forum. I think Paul needs to send me up Front Porch Forum and say, the board met last night, the decision was made to remove the speed bumps as soon as possible, with a deadline of October 1st. The board will be replacing them with something that is blah, 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 blah. But that
What we
needs-
discussed
that
over
needs-
the winter.
That needs to be put out
Okay,
to
so
the
let's
world.
put, then let's put an agenda item on the first meeting after. Let's say
You're
TM,
gonna have to put this in the budget.
no, we've got 30 grand.
Well,
No,
anymore.
Not
no, you
anymore.
don't.
We
Okay,
spent
wait.
7,
We spent
And there's
seven.
like, there's less left than that.
right, it's like.
17 or something.
We got
Like
17,000.
16.
But regardless, the money is not, it doesn't matter,
We
but
could get, what's my math? $500 a piece at 12 grand, so you get 24 speed bumps.
Even you, I agree with you at $500.
You can't do that work correctly.
Richmond did
Right.
it. Richmond did it. They work. They're there now. It's
I
working.
wouldn't use them as my blue ribbon example.
I trust experts. I call people that know because I don't, and I trust Tyler, and he called Richmond, and that's what they did. And Peter told me he likes those. Anyway, let's just get early winter, midwinter,
Yeah.
something on the board so that we're
Yeah.
honoring the people who really are trying to get our speeds down and that we get something. I don't want it to be another year. And like in the middle of the summer, they show up.
Right,
and besides honoring those people, like, I think it's the right thing to do.
Oh,
Yeah, I walked around with Berta in the center and yes, it's loud. People are flying too fast and it is the right thing to do. Him,
Can I give you a little bit of information,
No.
empirical fact?
no,
Okay.
sorry, but no, we've got to move on. I appreciate your comments. I didn't know you were a realtor. But is there a
I
career
had
you
nine,
haven't
I
done
had
yet?
9 professional
Wow.
licenses.
Okay. All right. Next is approval of the last remaining FEMA projects do you want me to say who we're doing right in the intro, or how do you want to do this one?
I don't remember what I sent to you, but I can look it up
You
on
said
my
it's the
email.
name of a person.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you can say that.
Am I only, okay, that's not a motion, right? That's-
No, I didn't know if like, kind of setting it up as.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we need to decide whether to approve the FEMA projects to King's Trucking and Excavating.
And there was 2 bids. you know.
3.
So I mean,
There was
before you
3 bids.
mentioned, there were 3 bids, and this was you always mention there was the low bidder.
Yeah, no, but on this one, he should have a list of.
Oh,
I
understand.
Wait, where is that, Amy?
I sent it to you guys.
So it was in an attached email and it's an attachment to the attached email.
Yes, I sent it as.
So we got an email from Paula at 12:40, nope, sorry, the last one was at 12:52 PM and Erica replied to that today. On the first email at 12:29 PM from Paula is a FEMA 2024 email, click on that,
'Cause-
then the attachments are in there.
Yeah, because it was from Tyler.
Yep.
And they opened the bids and there was a low bidder, and that's how you structure the action.
My only question is, and I apologize, I didn't do that dig that Amy just walked me through. Is the low bidder a company we know? King's Trucking Excavating, is it a company we know? Can they do the work well? I don't want to just like, oh, whoever's the lowest, you win.
I just want to say they were the lowest bidder by $500.
Yeah, they were all very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then.
One a
so
little
then-
higher than the
so-
third was a little higher.
So that.
have to,
But to Pete's point, is this something you're familiar with?
take the lowest bidder.
It's a
or
FEMA.
is it? It's FEMA. Do you have a preference?
No, I mean, they do a lot of work around all over the
Kings?
area.
Yes.
And they're good and they're fine, and you're not worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
There's no reason using J Merrill then above them.
Well, it sounds like Polly just made a point. We don't have an option.
But we can also,
Oh.
can we ask Jay Merrill to give us a new bid, $1,000 cheaper or $501 cheaper if they're better?
Oh, I don't know how that works.
I don't
You're
think
not
so
allowed to.
because we open them in front of them and they know the.
And it's illegal to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
English
I
meeting.
guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of gray area that these days, right?
It's not, yeah, well,
Okay.
it's not technically very good practice to do that.
So.
Okay, I would make, sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask you just to approve this bid, there's nothing else to this one bid, okay, nope, great.
I make a motion to approve the bid contract from King's Trucking and Excavating for the construction of the road culvert, we're just seeing the FEMA work, is that wrong? That, okay, great.
Can you throw the amount in there and I don't have it in front of me, someone have it?
I do, $324,444.
And then the $500 difference?
It's close.
And the other one's a little bit higher.
It was significantly higher, do you want to have Eric sign this, or do you wanna me to sign it?
You can either have, Eric gets to sign it, or you say.
Wait, ma'am.
Or, and then you made the motion, so you put in there.
Oh.
So
Sorry,
that.
Eric, you did,
So
it's
that-
already doing it.
Okay.
Do you want me to second?
Well, I guess I can't
Yes.
sign it yet.
Yes, Laura seconded.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Yeah, because otherwise you could put in, that you authorize the town administrator to sign the contract.
So then for Donna, I would adjust the motion, that the motion is to direct Eric to sign the contract.
Right.
That's what it has to be.
Perfect, thank you.
Now Jacob wants a truck.
This was.
Oh my God, what is going on?
Actually, three. This is, it really is amazing how much COVID screwed up the,
Yeah, the trucks.
because we were doing this pretty consistently, we were putting money into the highway equipment fund and taking it out, it was all working. And once COVID hit, that whole thing fell apart.
It really did, yeah,
Because we haven't even been able to put money into the fund,
Right. right.
Can you give me in one sentence or less? Can you explain to me how COVID resulted in, like, how did COVID, I thought we were all rich during COVID.
Maybe you were.
No, we were like, all the money was flowing and ARPA and.
Supply chain.
It was the supply chain.
Oh, supply chain,
Supply
okay,
chain.
I just said it, well done, one more.
Like
Supply
that.
chain, yep,
It
supply
still is
chain,
like
right.
that.
Because
Actually, can you pass those down to?
Because it took.
Peter, manufacturing plants
Is there
shut
another?
down.
Should be.
No, I know, I forgot to explain.
But they could make more money by keeping them closed, but instead of.
I have this one. Here's yours. I have one. I have my own.
Here, oh, you do have your own? Okay, I didn't know.
Is that, yeah, that's the same thing, isn't it?
My,
Yeah.
my only question with your trucks. Actually, I don't think the board is to, oh, you can ask.
That's a Jacob.
This is our new Laura, right? This is Jacob, our road foreman.
Yeah, supply chains and things really screwed up. Some other
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, no, I forgot all of that.
Some other issues too.
All right, so. One of the one thing I'm really asking for more of approval tonight isn't necessarily the truck. It's the body. The body is what holds the truck up. The body is 110,000, for the to go on a tandem truck. The timeline is 2 years. From order date to getting into a slot. In that time, it gives us, we can have, if I order a truck this fall, I can have it, we could have it by. The spring to midsummer of next year. The problem with that is the truck needs to be purchased. Once it is delivered. So then we have for another year.
to a year and a half, we have a truck either sitting in the garage unusable or sitting on the sales lot unusable. Because it doesn't have the body on it, the plow wear, all the essential things. So to me, with that being said,
What's the body?
the dump body, the wing, the plow, the
Oh,
frame,
so
the.
not the chassis.
Yeah,
Not the chassis.
The cab and chassis, yes.
Okay, got you,
It's
got you.
everything else.
All the stuff that does work.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Just buddy.
Yeah. And really with the body, there's only to have warranty work done. Viking Times out of Williston is the only company in Vermont for stuff that size. At this moment, otherwise the trucks would need to go to New Hampshire, but all those other vendors are the same timeline. It's just supply and demand everyone's trying to stay to their capital plan and there's so many bodies being, but there's only so many workers and only so much that can be delivered at that time.
This maybe a dumb question, I don't even know if we're allowed, is there anything across the border that you can do? Can we even?
Well, that's where my
do
pen
that?
went. You rolled down. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, are we allowed to do that ever?
What?
If we went to Canada to get anything serviced, because I would imagine around Montreal that there might be something a little more.
There are other companies, the problem is like if, then we have to send the truck, if it's warranty work, then we have to send the truck to Canada.
Okay.
Same thing with New Hampshire, then we have to send the truck to New Hampshire where we could go right down to Williston and they would service, if it was within our warranty frame, they would service it. And we go pick it up that afternoon. So that's,
Well, and one might suspect there might be tariffs too.
yes. Yeah, I'm sure that's all.
But the warranty work, you can't ship a truck to New Hampshire or Connecticut.
And they frown upon if you buy that body in New Hampshire at Tenco. And then you want Viking to, that truck goes to the back of the line because that's not their body, that's not their parts, not everything is plumbed the same or.
You're not their customer too.
Exactly.
So you don't want any input on which of the two trucks?
I mean, we can definitely entertain them, and I mean,
There is a slight difference in price.
yeah, I mean, and so what I did is these two trucks are what I picked that are apples to apples. They're the same, roughly within the same motor capacity, all that stuff. Same warranty, and I mean, I'm not gonna say which one I would go towards either way.
I would. Wait, are we making a choice right now?
No, I mean, I don't need a choice on the truck.
I was just saying.
What are we buying? What are we buying?
The dump body, the plow frame, all the hardware that goes onto the cab and chassis.
Buying one for one vehicle.
Well, so that's the problem, is now. I kinda got ahead of myself a little bit and I apologize. So now with the capital plan, with that 2-year timeline of when we can be delivered. As a unit together, that puts us behind. So one of the trucks right now is supposed to be going in this year, or is in the capital plan to be replaced for this year. In this budget season.
The money we're spending right now.
No, the budget that is coming up.
They're about to build.
27.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it would be 2028 or FY 29.
2027, you'll need a body,
Yeah,
need a truck, and 2028, you'll need one. And the body is what is.
taking
Won't
years.
be, like, it'll be 2 years, so we would have to order a body for FY 27 and a body for FY 28, that way they're back on track. By FY 28, right, because FY 28, we're gonna get both.
But then you've ordered a truck in 2020,
Then
27 is what?
I think, yes, I think the FY 27 is where you purchase one of these trucks. You know,
So we
and
already
then
have
you
the
know, FY
information.
28 purchase the next one, but the body is the thing that is. The 2 years So you're missing that FY 27.
Yeah.
You can't trade in a truck. In FY 28, you can't because those bodies aren't ready yet.
Yeah.
What would help, and so we need to take action on this tonight, right? Oh, this isn't the FEMA thing, sorry. We already did that outside, right, okay.
So it's something like Catherine was saying with the whole COVID, everything has been pushed back
Off the
years,
rails, yeah.
right? You know, so
Right, like I was having a conversation with Paula and Jacob just to get abreast of some of these things. And I came to the realization, like, a select board member could approve a truck. Be on the longer term, right? So some terms are gonna be 3 years and some are 2, the longer term, and never actually see that truck. Like if they approve it on the their first meeting.
right,
The select board member, and then it didn't run again,
Yeah.
they wouldn't
Yeah.
see the truck.
Yes,
That's how
right.
long it is, and so it's just, I think the point is, it's messing up our capital plan, right?
It really is.
My question is. We run into this a little bit before, and I feel like we were able to say. Yes, go ahead and order it because we can cancel it up until a certain date. Is that accurate? Like if we said, go order the whatever, the HX 520. And then 2 years, like 18 months from now, someone like, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. Like,
So when you you can buy them as a unit together, the cab and chassis and the body, right? It comes as like a unit together. When in that package, they have, where the select board signs for the approval, with the exception if it does not pass the budget. It is, you are not held liable to purchase that truck.
and
But if your
and
budget
think-
passes, you have to buy it.
Yes.
And I think that's a tool we can use.
Vote no on the budget.
Well. Yeah,
So-
that's tough, I guess, but.
So technically, you just want approval for the body tonight then?
Yes, the approval to order the body to be put into a slot, so then now we have a timeline that we know a truck will be ready.
But are we
Yes.
choosing between these two, or are we just saying
Not the-
you can order a body?
Yeah, just the $110,000 for
Yeah.
the body.
But-
And, yeah,
But
These are trucks that would be on, that body would.
like,
go on.
and this
You
you're
know,
gonna come back to.
And this is the cost, this is the
Yes.
cost.
In the budget, you're gonna be approved.
So it's not a body, then a truck, and then a truck. Because that's what I was thinking.
Basically, it is 2 bodies and
Yeah.
2 trucks.
Because then if we ordered another body next year, that truck for the following year would be behind as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice for us non-truck people, we just lump it into one thing, we just call it a truck.
Yes.
And- And understand that there's more to it.
If you want to, but body. I think what it
Because it,
breaking it down, like just even probably narrowing it, is just approve if you want to, yes or no. Approving the body of $110,000, that's one body, right?
Chassis.
No,
Yeah.
body, not the chassis,
Say body and plow frame.
right? Then come the FY 27 budget that we're coming into,
Mhm.
we're gonna be asking you for one of these trucks to fit that body.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, quite frankly, I'm gonna throw my weight under the Western Star, one, because it's a dollar product, and they actually, last year signed the California agreement, even though now there's all kinds of court cases. But they do have the most efficient diesel engine with low nitrogen oxide emissions. The international actually has just meets the EPA 2024, which is not near as strict.
Right?
I mean, I'm sure people are thinking the same thing, right? You're like, I know
bring it up.
Western Standard are a little more efficient than the.
I took the numbers of culverts too. I know, list them off, that would be helpful for me.
So what, you gonna say, Laura?
Nope, I'm good.
What would help me, so this, yes, great, we're gonna go ahead and do this, make a motion and all that. What would help me would be to see and would help me before either building up this budget process is to get presentation's too formal and big a word, but like basically a piece of paper saying like, here's where we stand. We have these trucks, this is
And-
this old, this
yeah.
is this old, this is
Yes,
this old.
we do have that.
So,
We
so
did
we
work
just,
on
yeah, so
that.
if we
We
can
do
just
have
do that and just know, like, so for the next 10 years or 5 years, here's the cycle we're gonna be going through.
We definitely worked a lot on that and we collaborated on putting everything in together. We have the VIN numbers, we have the trucks.
Great.
What numbers they are, what year they need to, what year they are, what year they need
Yeah,
to be
I,
replaced.
we are, you know, we got really caught behind. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
Truck studio.
We own 4 tandems, 2 pickups, a low pro, which is now turning into an F600. And that's all of our trucks.
Okay. So this is a substantial percentage of our trucks that we're
Yeah,
replacing too.
yes.
Alright.
Yeah, it would be half of our tandems.
Yeah, okay.
The thing I did leave out, unintentionally was, so, like with the truck, you don't pay for it until it arrives. So, you can approve it, but until that, in 2 years, that's when we would have to,
Can
yes,
we lock in this price though?
yeah, we wanna put it into the budget.
Okay, well, that my question was like, they think like, oh, steel's more expensive now, it's going at like.
180.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Jim, real quick.
Process.
Yep, we
That
want
a
more better
capital
process,
budget
absolutely. We'll
and-
work on that.
and
We've got 5 people now.
Replacement, I own vehicles like this. The replacement of these vehicles is based upon how many miles, how it's been used, how it's been driven, how it's been maintained, what it's worth, and then what it's gonna cost to purchase the new one. Many instances, we find older trucks actually run better than the newest trucks. There's periods where we went through years where the trucks literally broke down because they put technology into them that didn't work.
We also went through a period when we bought used equipment and it didn't last. In fact, it's probably could never have bought the one thing because it wasn't supposed to, it was only a demo model and it failed the
But
money.
if I could finish, there are leasing programs because in a capital structure, the cost of capital and the profit margin and the reselling of the vehicles, that one of the ways of looking at this is what are we going to need? What's the technology? What's the weather? And then should we buy this or should we lease it? And then in lease, you have the option, if it's a really great vehicle, of purchasing it. This is complicated stuff. It requires an MBA level analysis to do what you're doing before you do it.
Okay, thank you for the comment. Do I have a motion? Or? So we're gonna make a motion to. Right?
Just do-
We're gonna pick which truck in the
No.
motion, right?
No.
Body.
There's a motion, we're making a
Just the
motion.
body.
During the
Motion
budget.
To ask Paula and Jacob to
Okay.
go ahead and put it in order for $110,000 body.
Because the truck will come in the
Later.
budget later,
Okay.
but it will go in his budget. Next budget.
Oh,
Is that a motion? Can I second it?
someone needs to say it again more smoothly.
I'd like to make a motion to direct Jacob and Paula to put in an order for a $110,000 body. Truck body.
I second that. And Laura.
Laura second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I just wanted to show you one of our recent purchases and what we do have a sweeper now for.
I knew the answer to that, but I
Uh,
don't like to get into the back and forth with the comments.
I'm not like a 6-year-old and want to touch a truck.
Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
Can I go touch that truck? That's awesome.
Can I drive it?
I don't think we're under insurance.
Oh, that is cute.
Cute.
Wrong.
Don't say
Wrong.
that to me.
No, it is. No, puppy's cute.
That's badass.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's very handsome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for your patience tonight, Jacob.
Thank you.
Jacob, how many people did it take to pull up those speed bumps? How many guys we talked about?
I know the answer.
Eric?
everything take way more than you think because you've got a flag.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
So it's basically the whole crew.
Yeah, see, that's why we don't want to pull them away from FEMA.
I was gonna say, like, can I just go out there, you give me the, I'll go to.
I'll do it.
Got that, I'll go and I thought about, try LED traffic control.
Yeah, the hard part of it too is some of those, they're 22-inch long rebar stakes that went in.
Wow.
They drove in really hard. So I don't know how well they are going to come out either. And the protecting the infrastructure.
Oh,
Right, and
absolutely.
once, because all the holes we had to drill, there's 140 holes.
So you gotta put asphalt down in those things.
Asphalt, some kind of epoxy in there to keep the water from going in and cracking the asphalt. So that is also on my to-do list to figure out the best solution for protecting that,
See that?
those locations.
It's not a quick scheme.
Really sorry, Diego, on Monday.
You can't, Gary.
Yeah, we are sorry about it, but you know, we'll also make more mistakes going forward and we'll just try to do the best thing when.
I mean, because you already had a town who used them for 3 years, so you know, and there's a, you know, record, so it seemed reasonable at the time.
I even asked my mother-in-law last night, I'm like, do you ever go to Amesburg? Which is apparently so wrong, they're like, oh. He's like, it's not that bad, I'm like, well, okay. all right." Anyway, thank you, Jacob, for all your work.
Thank you.
And your crew.
Thank everyone.
Thanks, David. I'd like to approve a request to cater Griffin Riders LLC for the Mansfield Barn tomorrow, September 5th.
I'll second that.
Catherine second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You too.
Good thing, I approved that one for Jessica and Amy.
Yep, that's the rule.
We are already at select board updates, believe it or not, it's only 8:07.
That's pretty darn good.
Don't knock it.
No, we're good.
Careful.
Yeah.
Yes. I can start with updates. As Jacob's walking out the door, we just finished Gravel Hammerhead, so that is completed.
Wow.
That-
Yay!
I want to tell you, I took on that project as my first thing that's coming on the select, like before I even won, the Gravel people talked to me outside the high school or whatever, and yeah, that was a long haul. So,
Arduous journey.
Long,
Yeah.
very long. Yep.
Yeah.
Now completed, huh?
Now you're
It
plowing.
looks really good. I have pictures, but I was having trouble downloading them today to my computer, but I can show you guys next
That's
time. I will
terrific.
share them with you guys. If you want, so. Do that,
That's where
yes.
you're ready to plow, you can turn around up there in the winter if you need to, right?
Yep, and everyone was super happy with the outcome,
The road's wide enough and everything.
They're all really.
yeah, no, we had no negative violence, nope. Nope.
That Valium in the drinking wells works really well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the next one, that was all that I have, guys. Sorry, unless you have more.
My phone's full of pictures.
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I did meet with Jack from AARP about the grant for the Raceway Road, that sidewalk that's on there. He's working with the Jericho Bike Ped Committee to set up a time when they're gonna kind of go out and work on that. So, that's all still in motion, working.
But at least it's, you know, we're helping with Jerry Hill.
Yeah, for sure. The Jolly Crosswalks are up and running.
Oh, really?
Finally.
Yes.
Wait.
In time for Harvest Market, yes,
Did they match?
yes.
Did we pay for them? We did, they weren't.
We actually, because someone hit them, we got some money for them. Yeah.
Cool.
We have advertised for the highway worker, we haven't gotten any applications yet. Riverside sidewalk, that is just about complete. We're waiting for the RRFBs to be installed, which could be mid-September. Other than that, the sidewalk is complete, and we've gotten comments, really good comments from people that live over there that
Oh,
like
yeah.
it.
Great.
So,
Ran into somebody at the grocery store yesterday, they were just thrilled.
yeah,
absolutely thrilled with the sidewalk.
Yeah, one woman came in yesterday and spoke with Linda, and she said at first she was not for it, but she loves it, so.
Well, what is the RRFB?
Those are those crosswalks, the pedestrian crosswalks, that blinking.
Okay, that's
Yep.
an RRFB.
Well, it's called something reflective,
Okay.
something. I don't really know.
I'm interested.
Linda said it to me today, but it's like some
Rectangular rapid flashing beacon.
beacon.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
like our.
Yeah. Bridge 15 is done. I actually got an email from Julianne, who works for the state, said everything is complete. They just have a line striping to do and a couple things on their punch list, but other than that, they are all set with Bridge 15.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really good that that was done too. We are working on transferring to the new website. Sabina took her session yesterday and she has one more session tomorrow. Linda and myself took those sessions and we're meeting with Sabina on Monday to kind of take sure everything's crossed over from the old to the new. So. And that's it. That's all I have.
Amy, updates?
No updates, but I did want to ask about the MOU again and to see if we got her response. I know. Because at this point, by the deadline, I will not be able to sign it by the deadline unless they bring it in tomorrow. So
The MOU for that help, you're talking about help for Jericho?
Yeah.
Yes, they came back one more time. They actually found an error on their part, which would, their portion of the money was not correct, so they had me correct that, which was more, which was fine. And then one little, they wanted to change the wording on them, having a chance to write a first refusal. So I changed that. 2 people came in and signed today. We'll have others signing, I think.
2 of us, you mean, or 2 of them?
2 of them for the
Right.
MOU.
I would
Yep.
assume they all need to sign.
All the people need to sign who are on that MOU, yes. And I believe
So can we sign it now? So can she sign it now before she goes?
we have the application that she can sign.
Okay.
Yep, yes, I'll call,
Yeah,
get-
just to like.
Yep. I don't think they're, oh yeah, right. Yes, on mail, yes.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the application, but
You're good.
you guys do have to sign.
Yeah.
Yep, you can sign that.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Jessica, I believe, has the original because 2 people came in today.
So I do first thing
Yeah,
tomorrow morning.
I
If we all have it.
yeah, we have that.
Cool.
All right, that sounds good. Great, I forgot about that. You guys have to sign it too. Yes. Yeah,
That's it for me.
My update is we had the wastewater committee meeting last night, and I didn't skip this one because I was made myself unavailable for the first one, so that's going along well. We broke down into subcommittees. And we decided that the 3 subcommittees are someone to investigate the finance, someone to investigate the engineering, and someone to investigate the outreach. And those are kind of the 3 subcommittees that will kind of work on their portion and then come back to the monthly meeting. Next meeting is on October. That was kind of the gist of the meeting. I imagine Peter will remember some more important details than that, but it was good. I don't have any other updates. I think my inbox is mostly about one of the topics that we had on earlier, so.
I don't have anything yet, but in October, there'll be a new show, event, I'll talk about that when we get it, and then, also we're gonna have the very first art jet force presentation for the year, the next month.
She's talking about the art.
Yeah.
But, so it's, not.
I like this one. I have not gone around and looked at them all, but I like.
Yeah, it runs through the end of September, the 30th, we take it down. But, since it was just the beginning of the month, I didn't even figure I'd save it for the next, but if people wanna see it, yeah, it's, It's a fun one. That's all I got.
All I had was our task force, which Eric pretty much covered. One thing was that, so there's this report, I don't think you guys got this, Christine, Advancing Municipal Wastewater Infrastructure. This is a report that, Finley, I forget her last name.
Oh, no, we didn't get it.
And Winter.
Yeah, they were all talking about it last night, and it was just quiet, didn't want to sound dumb, but I didn't get it. Or if I got it. I didn't get it.
So this is the intern's recommendation?
Yes, we asked, we never got it before.
We would have gotten that as a part of the.
Do you want me to, I
agenda.
can have Chris send it
Oh,
to you.
okay, yeah, I had missed that one. Then there were Kate sent emails down, here's the agenda, here are those pre-meeting documents and stuff like that I've gotten through, all right. And it's actually, I mean.
But we all should have that.
Interesting is maybe not the right word, but it's, if you're interested in kind of thinking about this process, how it might work, it is interesting. And a couple of things that came through loud and clear from looking at the, towns that had done it successfully were, a couple ideas that kind of stuck in my mind were, select board being supportive locally. It being on every select board agenda, wastewater task force report being on every agenda item, even if the report is very minor, that like every step, even small movement is movement, and it's important to always keep moving forward.
That's a good point. We had that last night, like,
Task force would request that wastewater task force update be on the standing agenda item for the select board every meeting. And sort of we're meeting the task force meeting once a month, and Eric is the chair and Susan's the co-chair.
Not you were the co-chair.
I thought you was too.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
We appointed you guys last time.
Okay, yeah, Eric the chair, I guess I'm the not co-chair, the vice chair. Vice chair, I think, Blair. And we're meeting once a month, the first, whatever, Wednesday of the month. But then subgroups are gonna be meeting in between, so that it's not gonna be sort of like, we can only have one touch point per month to get anything done. There'll be the subgroups that are talking about the engineering, the outreach and sort of public relations piece and the finance research. Those groups will be meeting in between, kind of just updating the full task force once a month. So if it's on our agenda every month, Eric's on one subcommittee, I'm on another subcommittee, we'll still have updates, I think. At probably every select board meeting of some kind. And that's it.
And I was gonna ask about the report, I don't see it, so.
I will have to send that to you.
Send it.
Yep, I will. Did you get it?
No.
It was probably in one of those.
Okay,
I think
so-
Eric, I got it.
Okay,
from the
so
Eric got it
then-
from Wastewater.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll have him send that to you guys.
Got it as a wastewater thing, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I just have a question about process or clarification, so the gentleman who's asked about town policy on mowing the right of way. And the person who wanted the goldenrod cut near the raceway throughout the turn. What happens to those comments?
The one on Raceway, I'd have to, because Raceway intersects with 15 and 15 is a state highway. Really, we should call the state department, have them cut it, but I think we can just have highway guys go over there and cut it. I don't think it's a big deal to take,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that intersection down by me, it gets really bad when
Right.
when it's grown up,
Yeah.
but it's like state, not town, but
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
literally deadly. So
And did they go down and cut it, right?
they were much better about it this year, but
The
it's been
highway
pretty
guys
good
for the
year.
state?
I don't know, but it just hasn't been as big of a deal.
Yep.
I mean, I might have cut it one.
Right. Yeah.
Process wise, when someone says something that's doable and.
Yeah, I usually write it down and then,
Okay.
yeah.
As for the most name down is Brian Fairport.
So we don't need to.
And some comments are just comments.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Some people really don't like pollinator
No,
mess.
yeah, that's what.
As we saw.
Yeah.
And other people, you know, embraced it.
Oh.
But when the select, but it was very specific to give you a better
The
record.
safety thing,
Yeah,
that's the actionable.
Well,
I wasn't asking.
but I was gonna say, the background on that, the select board actually approved that at one point because Bernie had come and wanted that, and then, so it was also supported by the conservation committee, because they even had their own. But we told them that if they ever became an issue with was line of sight, that we would mow it. And if it wasn't maintained, that would happen.
Thank you.
One more thing I wanted to add about the task force was, one thing we did last night, was look at a timeline from basically here to the preliminary engineering report, which is now, it's, I guess, January, when the PER is due. Yeah, so January-ish, right? But the first sort of thing to get done with that was targeted for September, October. And Du Bois and King, Kate, who's from CCRPC, said that Du Bois and King has changed that to October, November. And Eric and I sort of put a big, like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, we're not going down the road again, because Du Bois and King, who are the people who did the original report, sort of just casually told us, yeah, it's not done yet, it's not done yet, we'll get around to it, sorry, we're not, we haven't got it done yet. And so we sort of, Eric, I think, sure, if I'm misspeaking, jump in. No, you're right. But we sort of said, like, we want to be clear, like, we got hammered in public about why are you accepting, we made us say it's not ready yet. And now we're in a new contract with you, and the first thing we get is, we're pushing it back a month. Maybe that's legitimate, but we need you guys to know that that's not gonna fly, that you have a contract with a schedule and you need to stick to it.
And I think he's bringing it up because that contract is with with the town, so it's the select board. So the task force can get annoyed, but it's on the select board to say, hey,
It'll come back.
we need to hold you to this town, this is our biggest priority for the town, and we really need you to stick to the schedule.
Which is November, or is it January, February?
I'll give them a move to.
Well, that's like, I've been talking about the very first thing, it was the due date, the final report, the final PER report is due March, April. But the 60% PER report was gonna be done September, October, and they changed that to October, November, and that's what we said. Oh, no, 60, September, October, that's what we want.
There's language in our contract that utilizes them anyway.
I need a question. That there is not. I would give it, I think last time they just sort of waited.
But maybe the next one.
Maybe in the next one, yeah.
Or maybe there we didn't.
Great
Okay,
idea.
maybe that we didn't look at
It
it.
might just be worth a little skim.
Like that bridge, right? Like, that's pretty cool. Oh, if you're done early, you get a whole bunch more money. And like, it was late on early. I mean, everything was open early.
Yeah.
So I don't put on your guys' radar that was a little bit of a hiccup in the meeting. And I guess Kate said that Kate McCarthy said that that you and her and Chris are meeting with John Ashley from the Boys that you come.
Yeah, I
said.
Yep, Chris had mentioned that to me today.
She said that she would pass on that concern and.
Right, political and kicking and screaming.
You're the enforcer.
I don't know.
What's going on?
Yeah, because we took a lot of hits on that.
Yeah, for sure. And
So, yeah.
it's,
We deserved it. We were like, all right, yeah.
right.
You
Oh my gosh. I did so quickly. You too.
That was not me, sorry.
We did this.
Okay.
Okay. Something updated will be done. Warrants are signed by two of us.
Yeah. And then the minutes.
Next
And
minutes.
yeah, I put the joint meeting with the planning commission and select board. Linda had found that they weren't approved. They were approved by the planning commission, but found that we didn't approve them. So I thought maybe we should approve them on our end.
I read them.
You did?
I read in the packet today. I read them. I didn't read them at the time. So who was there? Just me, Catherine, and Peter?
Yes.
I do have a couple things there.
On the joint one?
Yeah.
But so how does that work? If she makes a change and they've already approved them, how does that work?
Oh.
Maybe they're okay if they are.
Right.
Oh, it's just kind of odd.
If it's just grammatical stuff and not content, I think we should let us.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not so, but if you do is you just say, you know, instead of voluntold. It's on page 3, the second, the 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph down, 1, 2.
Big paragraph.
First big paragraph. Said voluntold. I'm sure they put in volunteer.
Well, maybe they did.
That's a very expensive word. It's a couple of words. It's not a real word.
So do we leave it?
Yeah, right.
Right, but it's. And how do you answer, who can be voluntold to create a website? I think it's volunteered to create a website.
No, I think she intentionally meant voluntold. Like,
Did she really?
Can we go call and say, have Linda go do this? I think that's what she means. That's what it means in the business world.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
You were.
Get their staff person to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, we've signed like when they made me chair of the task force. I wasn't on there.
I was
I was voluntold.
You're voluntold, okay, that's great. Well, this one is one. It's this paragraph on page 4 that starts Catherine McMahon. And it says 95% of advanced energy plans. No, it's enhanced energy plan. That is the official word. We have an enhanced energy plan.
Hey, where are you?
Page 4,
Here, yep, okay.
second to last paragraph, first sentence. First
What was it supposed to say?
It says advanced energy plan, it's enhanced.
Oh, and
That's because that's the state language for these
Okay.
things.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think that made those two things. Voluntold just didn't make sense to the topic to me, but.
Okay,
Oh.
the other minutes?
Let's make a motion. I'll just make a motion to approve the minutes of the June joint meeting of the select board and the planning commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now the real minutes. I read them, I didn't find anything, your name's spelled right every single time.
Excellent. Now, what I have is, on the hybrid meeting, of the select board on the August 21st, there was a gym with no second name. And that's why that's why I said, please make sure that people.
Was it you?
Jim, what's so,
Were you on the last select board meeting on Zoom?
what was the date?
The August 21st meeting.
I didn't say anything.
Meeting I wasn't at.
Present.
Were you here or were you online?
I was on.
So
Okay, then it was.
I think maybe I was.
Okay,
So you have to please put your full name even on Zoom, even if you don't say a word because you were in activity. I mean, that makes the minutes more correct. I also thought, you know, where we got paint on line 28. It's sad to say we got input from a person in Jericho Center. There was no name for it, which.
Very few of us I noticed.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I wondered if it was Bernie P because it says who compiled a lot of data and presented options.
it could be, yep.
That's a good point. Yeah, I thought about mentioning that.
I mean,
And then also in that same area, she identified the Riley Glands. And then he was the one that spoke a bunch of times, but
Right.
she didn't know that because of the audio.
right.
I don't know if it's worth including which ones he did, which ones he didn't, because there was someone else talking too, so it was probably extremely difficult to separate those out, but I don't know if it's worth changing or not.
I know. Okay.
That it?
Yeah, I think those were the things that actually were, you know, other than the law. Yeah. That, you know, that has impact.
I wasn't at the meeting, so.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of August 21st select board meeting, with, corrections as noted.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And Peter
Peter abstained. I believe there's a motion on the table. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, they. I'll make a motion to go to executive session for the purpose of, real estate. Because premature disclosure of the information we get known to the parties involved, I can invite Paula Carrier.
Well, no, you will say aye.
Oh crap, I gotta take that out.
All Holstein.
All Holstein, HOLSTEIN. Nope. I was like, yes, I would.
I know, but that was pretty funny, Sam.
Thank you.
No problem.